Hi, everybody. My name is Jill Dempsey and I'm the HR manager for CISC Healthcare. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. Our charity talk today is hosted by Anna Gurris of Childhood Cancer International Europe. We will also listen to Zuzana Thomas Voka, who is an active survivor who's experienced cancer from a young age. I would kindly ask you all, would you mind putting your mics on mute? And if you have any questions, to upload them into the chat and we will respond at the end. Thank you. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting us. We are really very happy, very glad to be here today. So I'm the Managing Director of the National Childhood Cancer Organization in Luxembourg, supporting patients and their families for the last 15 years. And I'm actually, since a couple of years, board member at CCI Europe in order to contribute more on the EU level. And before starting a little presentation, I hand over to my colleague Zuzana in order that she can explain who she is.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Jill. And from my side, also warmly welcome. And I'm really happy that so many people are joining us. As Anna said, my name is Zuzana Tomaszikova, and I am actually the leader of the Competence Center about the survivorship issues in the Swiss National Childhood Cancer Organization. I am rather a newbie member within the CCI Europe committee since more than 1.5 years. And I also coordinate the European Survivors Network. I had a bone cancer when I was a teenager, it's almost 15 years ago, and since then I am a survivor. Thanks. Anna, back to you.
So maybe just a few words about our organization. So Childhood Cancer Europe is the largest umbrella organization for childhood cancer patient organization in Europe. We have 66 member organizations in 33 different countries, as you can see on the map. And we are the European branch of Childhood Cancer International, CCI, which is a global childhood cancer organization covering all regions in the world. And we tightly work together, but there are a lot of specificities per region. And our common claim, and we really live it on a daily basis, is we care, we share. So we care for our patients. We do a lot of programs for our patients, and we share among regions, and within a region, we share among parents' organizations. So we don't know if you were familiar with childhood cancer. Normally nobody is till he's involved. So I hope that you don't know anything about childhood cancer, which would mean that you were never had any issues with that. But there are though some facts that you need maybe to know. Childhood cancer is a rare disease, but it's still the first cause of death by disease in children aged 1+. We still have 6,000 young people die each year of cancer in Europe. So hearing the number of 6,000 young people dying each year in Europe doesn't sound like anything tangible. But if you imagine that in one bus you put 40 persons, you can calculate how many buses would have a total crash and people die. So it's really a very shocking number. And the other one is 1 out of 300 newborns will develop cancer before turning 20. So now just imagine the street where you live in and counting all the children. It's a pretty scary thought. Additionally, 2/3 of our survivors have late effects from the treatments, which are severe and have an impact on their daily life for half of them. Today, we have more or less 500,000 Europeans that have survived childhood cancer. So you can make a quick calculation. And then coming to childhood cancer a little bit more on detail on the next slide, is that cancers in children are different from cancers in adults. So if you hear about innovation in adults, we don't find it the same way within children. Children are not small adults. And the most frequent childhood cancers are leukemias, tumors of the central nervous system, lymphomas, and neuroblastomas. They can occur from the birth on to the adolescence, with 35% of the typical childhood cancers being before the age of 5 years. So that's really very small. We still face unequal access to standards of care and research across Europe. And that's one of our burning topics we work hardly on. Another last fact before going to our work is beyond 5 years from diagnosis, which is more or less the time to be treated and to be healed from cancer, disease-free survivors have higher mortality rates than their non-affected peers. So why is this an important fact? Because it shows why we have to focus so much on survivors and why we have to focus on their long-term effects and prepare them and accompany them. So now, to do all those facts, show you that we need a dedicated team to collaborate on all our projects. And we are very happy because we had our last board meeting last weekend in Vienna. So this is a brand new picture I just show you because it's CCI's committee composed of parents, survivors, and patient representatives coming from all through Europe. So they are not representing their country, but they come to that board in having the idea to collaborate more within Europe. We decided, that whole group, that all the topics we are working on will be organized in pillars. And those pillars, you see them on the next slide. So this is probably content-wise the most important slide you will see in this presentation, because it shows all the topics we are working on. So we have a very big team working on research and innovation, which has many different aspects. Like I said before, we still don't have enough drugs or the right drugs to treat our children. There are unequal access also, and there are a lot of things to change within the EU relation. Then we have a very big pillar concerning diagnosis, treatment, and care. And as you see, there are many different aspects in that pillar. We also face, of course, psychosocial care, which is an important topic because normally in hospitals, you will have facing treatments, you will have everything about doctors or surgeons and nurses, but psychosocial care is often left a little behind. And so we really want to make it an important pillar. That's why it's also in the middle. And then it comes to survivorship, but I will leave that to Zuzana because it's her burning topic and she will better talk about it than I. And last but not least, of course, capacity development with education in order that more parents, more survivors could get involved on European level. We develop our community. And at the bottom, you see the 4 gray that are the transversal pillars with ethics, communication, European affairs, and long-term sustainability. And there we could say we thank you as Uniphar because it's one of our difficulties is to stay sustainable and continue doing all this work. We can just do it when we are funded through European projects or if we have grants like this one now that you are running or working or acting for. So the next slide is similar. It's actually the same than this slide. It just shows you how many people are dedicated to the different pillars and coming from all the countries in Europe. And that's something very important we always focus on because there are inequalities throughout Europe. So it's always very important that in every pillar we have people representing the Balkans, representing the southern countries, representing the northern countries, and so forth. And so this is a team of, I don't know, we never put it all the flags in, but you could be sure that all the countries are represented. Now, before giving over the word to Zuzana, let me introduce to Nicole Scoby. Well, let me introduce on a virtual way to Nicole Scoby. She's also a board member. She is a mother of very nice young boy who had childhood cancer. She is the pillar leader of research and innovation, and we are actually campaigning in the context of the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, which is every year in September. And this is a very short video who explains our work within research and innovation.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm the head of the CCI Europe Research and Innovation Pillar. We are a very active group of parents and survivors dedicated to accelerating new innovative treatments for children with cancer. In Europe, 6,000 kids and young people die of cancer every year. When my child was diagnosed, my biggest hope was for him to be cured and, if possible, with the least amount of long-term side effects. For this to happen for all children, research needs to accelerate. So what is CCI Europe doing? First, we advocate for new drug development and improved access to innovation. We participate in clinical trial design to make sure the patient point of view is represented. We work at improving regulations at the EU level to foster innovation and make sure children with cancer are a priority. And finally, we work collaboratively with doctors and researchers in Europe and beyond, particularly with SIAP, ITCC, and Accelerate, to improve new drug development with a vision that one day all children with cancer can be cured.
So, and I would like to continue because, as already Anne and Nicole pointed out, okay, the survival rates are quite good. So basically, there is kind of a success story that when you go back 20 to 30 years ago, there were not that many people who can survive. Nevertheless, we are the ones from the survivor's point of view where we have to say, okay, the survivor has its price. Anne mentioned that 2/3 of survivors are facing late effects. And if you are asking yourself what kind of late effects, then I can tell you, well, think of any kind of organ, and I'm pretty sure you can get it. So it's really, it can be by attacking a heart, attacking a lungs, or hormone system, and of course also the psyche. You can imagine that being confronted with a severe disease such as cancer in a very young age, it's not something you just do on a daily basis. What we have done, or what we are doing within the CCI Europe, especially in my pillar of survivorship, we try to involve patient advocates so that our voice, the voice from survivors and our point of view, is not overseen in the research, not overseen when it comes to the implementation, so that we can indeed improve the quality of life of the survivors, because this is what is it about. Our last of one of campaigns, which was in June, there is a whole week dedicated for survivors. We have decided to talk about the mental health, because this, as Anne already said, is often somehow underestimated. And you can see that many people across Europe has bring up a quote, and we had a lot of feedback saying that this is exactly how I feel. This is exactly how I can't put into the words, but thank you, you did it for me, and now I can say, okay, this is the problem, not having energy even for a free time in comparison to your friends or not. What we do within our community is really, on the one side, to raise the awareness, but also to empower survivors in order to work on issues and improve the situation. And I would like to share not only my story, but also the story of my two colleagues who are also in the committee of CCI, and share this video with you.
Each year, there are 35,000 children and adolescents diagnosed with cancer in Europe. Within the last decades, the survival rate increased from 20% to up to 80%. There are between 300,000 and 500,000 survivors in Europe.
When I was 11, I was diagnosed with cancer. When I turned 18, I really felt the need for detailed information about my health status and what can happen afterwards.
I was diagnosed with a Ewing sarcoma in my leg at the age of 17. I thought that after the high-dose chemotherapy, the hardest part of my cancer journey would be over, but I was mistaken. Nothing felt right anymore. I came to realize that I would have to deal with long-term effects of my cancer and its treatment, and I struggled with anxieties and also with depression.
Up to 60 to 70% of all survivors struggle with long-term effects.
It doesn't matter if you live in a high-income country or in a low-income country, because almost nowhere there are adequate facilities for long-term care for adult childhood cancer survivors.
Yeah, and as Karina already pointed out, and I've tried to convince you already ahead. That's why the work on European level is so important, because cancer doesn't know borders, and it's, as a rare disease, we really have to strengthen our forces to beat it together and to really improve the situation across Europe. And this is not, oops. This is not something which you can stop, even there is a pandemic. So we had to continue. We had our agenda. We wanted to focus on our issue and bringing on the top. And as for many other organizations, we had to find a way how to make it even on a remote base. And we were able to launch a conference. We were able to stay in touch with stakeholders from healthcare professionals, but also with our members, in order to know what are the burning issues and working on this. And this is all with the one single reason. And if I can have the next slide, basically with the aim to improve the patient's life, and not just only the patient and the families, but with the hope that there will be as many survivors as possible with so less late effects as possible, because all the children deserve the best possible treatment with the best possible quality of life. So we need to focus our full attention, not just our, but also yours. And I have a small greets from children across globe, and not just Europe.
You are braver than you think. You are smarter than you know. You are stronger than you seem. And you've got places still to go. Not a war you chose to wage, but you have earned each battle scar. There are warriors and angels. Be the warrior you are. We are young, we are strong, and we will sing this song together, so sing along. And as one, we will rise. We won't give up the fight until the night yields to the sun. We are one. It's a joyful kind of music, of a hopeful battle cry. We are warriors and angels, and we've got further yet to fly. We are young, we are strong, and we will sing this song together, so sing along.
Yeah, and together with our motto, we care, we share, was also with the motto, we are one, so we are all there together. And actually, children across the world has been asked to support young children who are dealing or who are affected by cancer, and you can see how much support we get. So it's not just about the age, and it's not about where you're coming from. Together we can do much more, and that's why I would like to thank you being invited here, for your time, but especially thank you for all your efforts and our engagement for donation for Relay for Hope, Uniphar in choosing us, CCI Europe, to help us improve, as I already said, improve the survivals rates and improve the quality of life for all children and survivors who are affected by cancer.
Thank you, Zuzana, and thank you, Anna. That was a lovely overview of the charity. Has anybody any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I wanted to also echo that and say thank you all so much for that. It was really insightful and very helpful. So thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks everybody for joining us today. Please do as much fundraising and donations for all our charities. Every donation and fundraising is greatly appreciated. And thank you for taking part and delivering that today, Anna and Zuzana. And thank you, Arnella, as well, our IT in the background. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. We can just hope. We don't know what you have all to do, but if you have to run, run. If you have to walk, walk. But just do it, please.
Donate, donate, donate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Thank you. If you have
Thanks,
questions,
everyone.
you can find us on social media. We are trying to answer all the questions we get from all over. So even if the call is over, you can still get in contact with us.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.